Okay, everybody. I hope you are ready because this is a favorite topic of mine. Right? Because how we communicate is a big deal. So, I want to first, just introduce you to my new dear friend, Mr. John Page, who, just wow, he's just always such a gift and such an honor to be in the same space with. So, John, say hello to everybody.
Hey everyone, welcome to Personal Excellence. I hope this will help you do just that in your conversations. We're going to have some fun.
Yay. And I love that. And you guys don't forget to jump in, right? Like the community chat. We have it for each day designated specifically to keep all of your thoughts, kind of compartmentalized. So anyway, John, communication, right? Like
Yes.
it can be such a tricky area for most of us, especially when there's emotions, misunderstandings, other things like that that come into play. So let me ask you, right? Like what inspired you? What inspired you to focus on helping people improve their everyday way of communicating?
Well, I mean, we have conversations all the time, right? We have conversations online with our partner, our spouse, our work bestie, our loved ones, our families, random people at the store, the barista at your favorite coffee shop, what have you. Now, a lot of those conversations, they're going to be surface, right? They're transactional, they're getting something done. But more often than not, the closer people are with us, you want a conversation that's going to matter in some way. You don't want a conversation to go sideways on you. And yet, how often do our conversations with those closest to us do in fact go sideways? They're not really a conversation, they become an argument, or they become a progressive use of sighs and rolled eyes and grunts. Oh God, yeah. And that's, you know, half the marriage conversations I've dealt with people in my office before. That's about what I get, right? So that's what inspired me was primarily in a partnership, whether that's spouse to spouse or people who are just really close and in love with each other. But then I began to look at it beyond that. How do I communicate with a family member? How do I communicate with someone who is close to me? I mean, it may be your BFF, but somebody within that inner circle, or maybe just the circle outside the inner circle. The people that count. So then let's have conversations that count with those close people. Let's have conversations that don't go sideways. How about that? Let's try that. Can we do that? That would be great.
Well, yes. And I think that is an amazing aspiration to have. I know it's something that, I work and have worked hard on for years. And I know that, and even in, the message here on the platform, introducing the talk, right? Like you emphasize two powerful questions and one key statement as game changers in conversations. Can you walk us through what those are, how they can be applied in different kinds of relationships, whether it is at home or at work? Because I love categories. I love being very specific. I love that you brought in the conversations at a grocery store. That's what my favorite socialization is, being out in public. It's like I get my cup filled and it's literally just like passive acquaintance. Like, I don't know your name. You're not going to ask for my number and you'll have no expectation of me.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. Well,
Right.
you might use this in a grocery store. More often than not, you'll use it with people a little bit closer to you.
Right.
There's actually three questions. I kind of mistyped, but that's okay. We'll work
Oh,
with it. Not a worry. Most
maybe
conversations.
by the time they listen to this, I will have corrected the type error.
Oh, it's okay. That was my fault. Not a worry. But basically, most conversations that matter, and all of them matter, even the one with the guy at the grocery store, the person at the coffee shop, whatever it may be. But the ones that really count, that get us into the most trouble, fall into basically three categories. It's going to be a conversation about something that's a decision making, that's practical, What is this about conversation? The second one is it's a how do we feel conversation. It's emotion based. It's not trying to solve something or fix something. It's a feeling based conversation. The last one is it's not really something we're going to solve, not something we're going to fix, not really something that's about our emotions. It's deeper than that. It's based on our identity. It's a who am I conversation. Now, in some conversations, all three of these may come into play. You're thinking, oh my gosh, which one are we doing? But more often than not, you can fall into one of these categories. It may look like this, for instance. Spouse one, I can't get the dishwasher to work. I feel so stupid. Hey, no problem. Just flip that switch, do that, do that. Boom, problem solved, baby. Spouse number one, oh, cuss word, cuss word, cuss word, cuss word, cuss word. Right? It wasn't a what is this about conversation. It was a how do I feel conversation. Wasn't about how to fix the dishwasher. It was I feel stupid because I can't accomplish this task. Right? So those are the three categories.
Wow. I I like that because then you can, identify when to say, honey, I'm not looking for you to fix this for me. I'm looking for you to, you know, just hear me,
Mm-hmm.
just see me, just whatever, be with me, or whatever it might be for you. So, I like that. And as you're talking about those things that go sideways,
Yeah.
particularly with our loved ones and sometimes colleagues, right? I don't know, as a business owner, my colleagues, like I get to invite them in and
Sure.
our conversations don't generally go sideways because we're choosing. But
Yep.
so people do have, these conversations that go sideways with, loved ones 100% and then colleagues at times. So how does someone start turning those tense conversations into ones that build better understanding of each other, I guess, and connection?
I mean, it takes some practice, right? There's something we have to learn. It's about clarifying what it is you want, right?
mm,
I mean, it literally is asking something as simple as what is it we're really talking about here? Instead of making an assumption, oh, this person is going to talk about that because they always talk about this kind of thing. Or, oh, they want me to respond in this way because that's what I'm supposed to do. So instead of relying on worn out ideas or assumptions or things that we're forced into because of our role, maybe in the workplace, you're always the person that people come to fix the problem or solve the situation. Or
mm,
maybe you're the person in the workplace that people turn to when they're not feeling great because you're skilled and gifted in a way that helps people feel encouraged and supported. So they may come to you for an emotion based kind of thing, but you may see it deeper. Maybe it's an identity kind of conversation. So it's really just a clarifying question of what is it we're talking about here? And then you can build on that and learn to say, okay, what kind of conversation are we have? That's one step. Next step is share your goals for the conversation. Have you? I haven't. It takes practice for me to even do this, and I'm telling you about it. But when's the last time you've had a conversation, right, where you said, okay, what are our goals for this conversation? And it sounds hokey. It really does. I'm saying it and it sounds hokey to me, but it's a clear step that you can build on so that you are clear with yourself and the other person. What are we after here? I
mm.
want to help you. You want to help me. We want to have a satisfying conversation about whatever this is. What are our goals here? And that's something you have to practice. You have to learn how to bring that up before you jump into whatever the conversation may be about.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I know my husband and I have worked on it for a lot of years.
Yep.
Because we truly communicate quite differently. And I know everybody can, understand and appreciate this, right? Like the money stuff. And it would be, yelling from the other room, what's this charge? I would shut down, like, I don't know, I'm not looking at, like, I'm not looking at it. I'm not in the same space. I'm over here creating a fluffy, social media post or, whatever, right? Like I'm not, bring me to your space before you come at me with a question. Is kind of what, where we had to negotiate. And so now, one of the things we do as a practice is we'll shoot each other an email or a text message that's like, hey, let's carve out time to talk about XYZ. Let's talk, let's carve out time to, make this plan or that plan. Then it's like, okay, cool, I'm on board. I know where I'm meeting you, those kinds of things. Or it gives us that opportunity to inquire for deeper understanding before the actual sit down, to make space and room for that preparation, especially when like we could be far apart.
Exactly.
Nothing worse. You're driving down the freeway on a road trip and your spouse is like, hey, how much is in the business account today? And I'm like, no, right? Like
yeah. It's like you're speaking two very different languages. And the thing is, you are. If you're in a rational space and they're in an emotional space, you're literally using two different parts of your brain, and you will not understand each other, even though you're both using the same verbal language, right?
Yes.
Your brains are literally not on the same page. It's a different cognitive language if you're talking about a problem-solving conversation versus a how do I feel conversation versus yet even a who am I identity conversation. Those are three very different areas of the brain, and your cognitive processing skills aren't going to function if you're in one but not the other, right? I mean, it's that kind of important. And you'll know you've done this because they'll say something like, either in the moment or later, it's like they don't even hear what I'm saying. And the thing is, they aren't, and you aren't. You're in two different areas of your brain. That's what those clarifying questions are about. What kind of conversation are we having? Like the example, you're driving down the road trip. You're thinking we're going to have fun. You're going to the beach or wherever you're going, and they're jumping to some rational cognitive accounting problem. You literally are not even there. You're not there at all.
No.
Can't happen. Can't happen.
Right. And so then we do, right? People make these very common things, right? The common mistakes that people make when they're trying to communicate effectively.
Yeah.
So what are some of those that you see, and how do you help people avoid falling into those traps?
I tell people that they need to give permission to each other, right? When we grant permission from me to you, like even in this conversation now, right? We've talked before, we've exchanged emails, we've given permission to each other that we're going to grant insight into our mind with each other, and we know what we're going to talk about. And I'm stepping into your space and you're stepping into my space, and we're going to see this through each other's eyes because we've given permission to do so, right? And the thing is, when we do that with each other, there's a reciprocity involved. Now, if we had come into this cold, it would feel very different, right?
Yeah.
You might be feeling, oh my gosh, what is this guy about? Is he going to talk about that? Or is he going to talk about this? And how am I? And I would be like, who is this lady? And what is she going to, what is she going to ask me? And oh my gosh, is she? But we're able to have the conversation we're having because we've given permission to the other person, just like you can in a conversation with your best friend or your loved one or whoever you're close with. So part of it is a permission giving, and it's not just a mirroring, right? That's a common thing. You kind of repeat back what you've heard said. That's a good thing to do, but that's not what this is.
No.
right? It's a little more than that. You've got to go a little deeper with it, right? And those three questions, is it a decision making? Is it emotional? Or is it identity based? That helps us do that. And the thing is, when we're vulnerable, when we give that permission, it's contagious. It opens us up. And then you can take the conversation in a new way. And you and your spouse, your husband, right? You've already discovered that. When you send that email to each other, you're taking the step to say, hey, look, we're going to open the door on this conversation in this way about this stuff at this time. You make an appointment about it.
Yes.
So let's say you've had the day you've had, your computer went haywire, the power went out for 3 hours. I don't know, the neighbor's cat did some stuff all over your lawn, whatever. And then you get with your spouse late at night and they want to talk about something deep and meaningful. Not the time or the place. You literally have to make an appointment for some of these conversations.
I love, and I love that. I love this space right here because a couple different angles, 100%. Like you've got to feel like, honey, like I love you. I want to hear you. I want to see you. I want to value you. I truly want to, be in this space with you. I just don't have it in me right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Can we do this in the morning with a fresh start on a brand new day?
Exactly.
100%. I will back that, validate that. I will coach that, teach that all day long. On the flip side, I will also all day long teach, coach, and train people to, no matter what happens at any minute, right? Because like you said, but I got up this morning, my computer started, everything went great, yada, yada, la, 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 go into the second thing. And 20 minutes into the second thing, it just went, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
no, like my computer took a crash. And the person that I was meeting with was just like, I love that you're like not even fazed by this, because that's the key critical piece. I was ready to meet with you guys and record on my cell phone, right? Like just turn it sideways, put it on its little tripod and record anyway. I would have been like this small little thing, but whoop-de-dee, everybody's seeing me every day. They don't need to see me, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
And so I'm ready to go with the flow. So just because your power went out, your computer crashed, I forget one of the other examples, right? The cat pooped on the lawn, whatever, all of those things, they happened in those moments. You can't take them back. You can't make them unhappen. You can't unexperience them. You have to learn how to then shift in and say, especially if it was a scheduled time, like I'm going to do my best, right? Without giving it a disclaimer, give it that disclaimer, like, okay, right? Like they've been really trying to package up everything that's come, but I want you to know, like nothing's unfolded smooth today. And I feel like I'm doing okay despite that, but I like to teach people how, I do back-to-back sessions with people with deep, dark, heavy things. And it's like, I can't bring that last session with me into the next one. I have 60 seconds between them. I have a process that I do cognitively that is a centering and grounding technique, but it's now. Like I don't have time for meditation. I don't have time for yoga or, in between things. I got to do it now. And so I, teach people how to actually do this in their regular day-to-day life, because I think it's important, because it's not, when my spouse comes in the door, he's had a hard day. I'm like, well, I had no part of that. Don't bring that energy here. Leave it at the door, right? Leave it back there so you can come into our personal space for personal things. Save the business for the business space.
I mean, you notice in houses, right? There's a mud room where you come in the front door and there's a coat rack or a closet that's right there. Houses are designed in a way to literally help you take off what you're bringing in from the outside, right? Your raincoat that's got all the rain and dripping all over the place. You don't want to drag that all over the house, or whatever it may be. And I know people, and I've counseled them in this way, is literally when you're coming home from work. First responders do this a lot. I've worked with them a lot. Some of them do this, some of them don't, but it's a good practice for anyone, is that when you're coming home and you're unburdening yourself from your uniform, whether that's your suit coat, your overcoat, your professional equipment stuff, when you are taking that off, that means you're also going to take off all of the crap that happened that day, and you're going to put it in its place on the coat rack, in the closet, in your truck, in the car, wherever you're doing that, before you get into your space, your home, and then you don't bring it in with you, right? And that, excuse me. And so if we do that, we're then able to have better conversations with each other. We have better relations with each other, because otherwise what can happen, we make decisions off of what happened just before, right? Somebody, you come home, it's been a bad day at work, whatever it is, you come to the house, and I don't know, the drawer is open in the kitchen and you bang your hip into it, and then it all comes pouring out. It has nothing to do with the drawer in the kitchen. It has everything to do with what happened 2 hours earlier. Or
Mhm.
if your kids are fighting and one of them is in just severe crisis mode because the other one has, I don't know, chopped their hair off, whatever it is, the question to ask is, okay, but what happened right before that?
Mhm.
Right? It's the story behind the story.
Yep.
It's the trigger that pushed the button to cause the thing to happen. Well, we can do that in conversations as well.
I love that. And, I think there's a unique, different way, right? To how was your day? Right? How was your day?
Yeah.
Well, you're asking, sometimes, you kind of have to, explore,
Hmm.
right? Like I've been working on this because it's like, ooh, I already know, right? Like the there's big projects happening for both of us, and it's like, it's not how was your day, because we know the answer: busy, full, right, impacted,
Yeah.
long,
Yeah.
whatever. And so it's more of a, like, how are you feeling energetically
Hmm.
the end of your day, or something that's a little more personal, that's asking them about them, not the day, because it's like, well, like, I started at 4 a.m and it's 5 p.m and I'm tired, all the
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
That's something that's just a little more empathetic, I guess. But so as we're trying to be sensitive to all people's times, and I know that you've created like a great reflection worksheet below, and your
Hmm.
freebie is amazing. So make sure, you guys, if you haven't booked your feedback appointment with me, because it's important to me that we find out from you how you enjoyed our version of a summit and what we're doing here. Um, right, like, that's where I'm going to hand you all the free gifts. So make sure you do that, because this is amazing. But anyway, I digress. John, so as we're looking at this, wrap up period of it, for anyone that's listening, who might be feeling overwhelmed by the idea of changing how they actually communicate, what's
Hmm.
that, one small thing that they can take today to start having better conversations?
The one best thing, oh boy.
Mhm.
Uh, I would say just be open with how you feel. So we were talking earlier about conversations with people coming home from work and stressful day and so forth. Um, you might, if you're having those conversations, the one thing you can do is just say, I don't feel like having a conversation right now. It's a simple sentence. There's nothing threatening about it. There's nothing aggressive about it. Or I don't, I'm not in a place to have a conversation right now. I'm not ready to have a conversation right now. I want to, I love you, I care about you. If it's in a workplace situation, I'd love to have a conversation about that. I can't do that right now.
Mhm.
It lets the other person know, yes, I'm not being a snot. All right. I will have a conversation, just not right now.
Yeah,
And that gives you some space to do whatever needs to be done so that you can have the conversation. That
yeah,
if there was one sentence that someone could use, it would be that one.
I
I'm
love that.
some version of that. I'm not ready for the conversation right now. Right.
Yeah.
Um,
You're saying no without saying no, which I think is a beautiful concept.
exactly. You don't even need to say the word. Just say
Yeah.
I. Okay. I'm owning it. What I'm about to say, I am not ready for the conversation right now.
Yeah.
It says I'm owning what I'm saying. It says I recognize that you do want to have a conversation with me. And I'm establishing, because I'm taking responsibility for myself, that that cannot happen right now. The short version is I can't have that conversation with you right
Yeah.
now. Right.
Yeah.
Um, the last thing I'd say is we talked about the three questions. It's really simple. Do you want to be helped? Do you want to be hugged? Or do you want to be heard?
Wow. What it you guys just stop right there, right? Like he's giving you like some amazing go forward right now. And of course, with the worksheet below, you jump into that. It's, download it, print it out, however you function best, right? And
Yeah.
use that going forward. But do I want to be
Do I want to be helped? That's
hugged?
practical. Do I want to be hugged? That's
Uh-huh.
emotional. Do I
Yeah.
want to be heard? That's an identity base, right?
Yeah.
Do I want to be heard? Do I want to be seen? Who am I?
Mhm.
Helped, hugged, or heard?
That's the gold right there.
There it is.
But it's
And
up
that,
to them to know what it is that they want. Because if
right.
they don't know, the listener or the other participant surely isn't going to know.
No, we do not. We never know
Right?
what I don't know what you want unless you tell me,
Yeah.
right? And this happens a lot in very long-term relationships, marriage, friendship, work relationships, colleagues. We can never know what it is they really want. Hey,
No.
can you help me? You may not say this in a workplace. Can you hug me? Okay, fair enough. But you can say, hey, I need your help to solve this. I need your help with what I'm feeling. I need your help about what it is I'm supposed to do and be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just
So
put it to work. Practice, practice.
practice, practice. I mean, I could sit here and validate your work all day long. I can also sit here and say to any of my clients that are listening, see, like I know what I'm talking about when I'm giving you some of these little directions, right? Like quit fighting me on it. So thanks for validating me and my work.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
But no, seriously, guys, like this is important. When we can communicate
This
well.
putting these simple things to this is not it's not rocket science, so to speak, right?
Right.
But it is being clear. And if you put these to work, it will transform your relationships. It will transform your conversations. And yes, you will have personal excellence in what you're doing and who you are and who you're relating with. It
Yeah.
is that powerful and anybody can learn it. You do not have to be an expert.
Wow. So awesome. Thank you for being here and
Absolutely.
in
This was
this
a joy to
space
be with you, Tricia.
and making this happen.
Yeah.
Hey,
Thanks for the
everybody,
invite.
get to work.
That's right. Take care. Bye.